Round 2. Hello, my name is Robbie. On here, I'm Templar Knight. Every person who believes in God but does not go to church has a story why. But whenever 2 or more people gather in God's name, He is there. So this is church. Welcome. I'm glad that you're here. We are doing things very different tonight. For those of you just tuning in, I am already completely flustered, and we've got the chat going because tonight we're going to talk. We watched that intro video from the old Restoration series because it ends with an old man talking to a young girl about a car. And for those who were here for that series we talked about cars equaling faith. And last night, I had a role reversal. My niece got to preach to me. And she was talking about something she had learned that was not something I had ever learned. So tonight, I'm going to share what I learned and what I picked up in the past few hours, and I want to have a discussion about this. So feel free to chat and weigh in. Tonight's question: where is the devil, and what is he doing? 48 hours ago, I would have told you the devil is in hell, and he is punishing people. He is in charge down there, punishing those who do not accept Christ. 48 hours ago, I was wrong. I got to come and find out that Lucifer's not in hell. Lucifer's not in charge down there. I'm going to click over to some notes that I found. Now, this is not my writing. This was me reading from smarter people than me. According to the Bible, Satan is not currently in hell, but will be eventually cast there. The Bible describes Satan as being cast down from heaven and having access to earth, where he is considered the ruler of this world, but will ultimately be confined to the lake of fire, which is hell, in the final judgment, as it was described in the book of Revelation. I wasn't ready for that. So I had to dig deeper. And this is from a group called the Blue Letter Bible, a guy named Don Stewart. Now, I'm just going to read this quick article, and then we can have a conversation about this. So Don Stewart says, there are those who believe that Satan is presently bound in the pit. The Bible says that he will be there for some days. And he quotes Revelation, says, and I saw an angel coming down out of heaven, having the key to the abyss and the great chain in his hand. And he laid a hold on the dragon, the old serpent, which is the devil. And he bound him for 1,000 years, and cast him down into the abyss, and shut it. And he sealed it over him, that he should deceive the nations no more until the 1,000 years have been finished. But after that, he must be loosened for a little time. You know, I am constantly asked by believers and non-believers, is this the end days? And I always have the same answer. I don't know. Nor do I care, because if this is the end days, my time here ain't much longer. And it doesn't get bad until after we're gone. So either we all gonna disappear one night and it is the end of days, or we're gonna get through this. Either way, that does not shake my trust in God that He has a plan and that He is in charge of this. Because from what I'm just finding out, God's in charge of hell too. I wish I could see where I wrote that. I've got like 6 tabs open over here. So I'm curious, what are your guys' thoughts on this? How many of you knew that? Is there anyone who knew that there's a good chance devil ain't in hell right now? Because I didn't. Kind of knew the devil isn't in hell. And that's one thing that's got me just so up in arms right now. Because I am more than willing to accept that there are angels and demons here on earth, and they are doing whatever they can to push their influence to make us choose between right and wrong. But I had always assumed it was one of those, they were just out on scouting missions or doing their thing. And the issue that he brought up was that we cannot define time by our standards, that 1,000 years is an increment that we have placed. And that's always been my thought. I've always believed it's like, it says 1,000 years. Well, 1,000 years on Pluto is much different than 1,000 years on Earth. 1,000 years on Mercury, much different. 1,000 years in heaven, who knows what timeline they go by. Yes, Bond and I, we must talk to the same person growing up or studied the same stuff, because I've just been completely blown away by this. Because this sets a whole new concept on spiritual warfare that I'd never thought of. And it all makes sense, though. I mean, who was it that messed with Adam and Eve? It was Lucifer. It was the serpent. He was the one who messed with them. But if he was supposed to be locked up in a pit, how did he do that? It's been right in front of me this whole time. It literally says that Satan shows up and talks with Jesus. They have a conversation. Satan tries to tempt Jesus when he's fasting in the desert. And for some reason, I still had this idea he was locked up in a pit. So I'm curious what you guys all think about this. I wouldn't mind trying something new for the next 15 minutes. We've always talked this way, where I get to be the lucky one who doesn't have to type anything. I speak and you guys can hear. But I want to try voice chat. If anyone would like to come and talk, take part in this conversation, we're going to go into the Discord. And we have a conversation room. So if anyone wants to come and talk about this with us, otherwise feel free, you can still chat on here. We'll still see it on screen. I wouldn't mind just trying some voice chat if you guys are interested. I know that Blind and Blonde are already here. I'm going to hop in real quick, and we're going to, hopefully there's no technical difficulties. But I'm curious because I want to hear this. How's it going?
Hey, bud.
Hey there.
Just a quick excerpt to anyone in chat that does want to hop in. Hop into the waiting room. You guys can't see the stream chat, and you will get pulled into this VC.
Yes, very correct. So anyone who wants to join us, I'm going to throw up the link for Discord real quick in case anyone's not there. Feel free to come and join. Come and talk with us. Share your opinions and your ideas. Because this is one of those, how are you so stupid, bud? How did you not realize this?
I don't think it's stupidity.
I think it's a sense of how the Bible is taught in a very uniformed place like church, comparatively to learning on your own and reading the scriptures and talking to people with varying views and differences, because no one person has all the answers. And at the end of the day, no one actually knows the answers to any of these questions unless, God is speaking to you himself.
Right?
These are all
And that's
different
what we got the Bible
ideologies.
for.
Mm-hmm.
And did we even think about asking this kind of question like when we were growing up in the church? No.
Yeah, I just always assumed, and it just completely took me by surprise.
Well, I think
Yes.
it's I think it's a matter of when you're teaching God's love and you're teaching the Bible and you're teaching faith and you're teaching understanding, how to make things simple enough for people to latch on quickly enough that they come back and they want to learn more and they want to find out more. And so you make things as simple as possible without delving deep into topics like this, where, hell is ran by the devil and the devil is Lucifer, and Lucifer was cast out of heaven because, Lucifer was bad. And it's harder to go into a deeper meaning than that, being, well, yes, these things happened, right? But he might actually be here on earth. Well, how do you prove that? Show me what you mean. So you lay out things in simpler terms to keep that congregation growing and get people to come into church and get people to believe. And then you can have these kind of discussions later on down the road if they want to have those kind of discussions.
Correct. You don't want to scare people and say, hey, devil, he out.
Yeah.
He out, he walking.
And know your boss who you think's the devil? He might be. I mean,
You never
there's always a
know.
possibility.
Oh, man. So I'm curious. The one thing it says right here, I'm reading. Sorry, I'm like side monitoring while I'm listening. It says that Satan has access to God. In First Job, it says, "Now it came to pass on the day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, that Satan also came among them." So as we all go and present ourselves to God, Satan could be there. Almost like he's, man. I'm just so baffled by the fact that Satan still. I'm honestly, I'm reminded of that scene from Hercules, when they're having the party for baby Hercules being born, and they're all up in the palace and whatever, and then Hades was that? Yeah, Hades shows up.
Ladies.
Yeah, and Hades shows up, and he's just like there, and it's so weird because he's not welcome. I'm totally getting that kind of vibe right now just thinking about this. I mean, obviously he's no match for it. It's not like he can lay siege to the gates again, but to think that he could actually go up there and have a conversation.
I think of it kind of like for lack of a better term, I mean, I can relate it to as a parent, right? You having that son that has messed up and messed up and messed up and done the wrong things over and over and over again. Would you trust them with your bank account info? And would you trust them with the deeds and titles to your lands or your cars or your things? No. But would you let them come into your house and speak to you again? Yeah, because you still have love for that person. You're not going to hand everything over and let them have the access that they used to have. But they're still a being from you. And so you still have that relationship that will never go away. I think that's why you see in the Bible, you see Lucifer and God talking throughout the Bible and things happening. Like he's trying to, like with Job, he's trying to prove himself to God. Let me take your most righteous person, your most righteous follower, and I can show you he's just as bad as I am. Now, that's not what happened, obviously, if you've read the Bible and you understand the story of Job. But I mean, it would be like a father never talking to his son ever again. And somewhere deep inside of their heart, they still have that holdout, that hope that they're going to turn around and make better decisions. And it doesn't always happen.
Yeah, I take it almost like a courtroom kind of viewpoint with him, possibly being up there, when it comes to our judgment day. We're sitting there waiting for judgment, and he's there to prosecute us of all our, wrongs that we did, like how many times that we failed as Christians, as humans, to say, this is the sin, this is the sin. They did this, they did this, they did this. Oh, well, look, they listened to me here, kind of thing is almost how I see it.
That's that old prodigal son thing you just hit me with, blind. That's
Yeah. I mean,
That reminds
you and
me
I have
so-
had this talk before. I mean, I studied to become a pastor as well. So I've had a lot of these talks and discussions with other people who have actually gone on to become pastors or vicars or different things within inside at least the Lutheran church, which is what I was affiliated with. So yeah, no, I get it.
I had something and I lost it, but that's fine. And again, if anyone else wants to join us, I mean, I know I got the head nuggets here, and feel free to hop in that waiting room and we'll pull you in if you've got something you want to weigh in on this, or feel free to type it out. But
It's wild to even think about, in all honest. Like, it's always been in the back of the brain that, he's walking the earth, and it's still.
I'm gonna pull a little G in here. This is my nephew. It was his sister who had the conversation with me. Hey man, how you doing?
Hey, me.
This is not little G. This is
Oh.
my niece. How are you?
Good.
So, everyone, I would like to. Is it cool if I call you by your name, or would you rather I not?
Oh, you can call me by whatever.
Okay. So this is my niece Maisie, the one who had this conversation with me that I was talking about. Would you like to kind of reiterate some of the stuff you had to say last night? Because I would.
Putting her on the spot like that, aren't you?
I'm sorry.
Now I hear it again. The sound cut out for a second.
Oh, my bad. It might have been me cutting out because when I'm overwhelmed, I cry, and I'm a little overwhelmed today.
Yeah, so you just wanted me to recap what I said?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Well, I don't know. I was kind of just, it's something that I've thought about before. Cause I just mentioned, like, hey, Satan's in hell because it doesn't make sense. Well, he would be there yet. I don't know if I'm into serpents and I also mentioned I don't know.
We seem to be having some
Yes.
technical difficulties with your microphone. You are cutting in and out a lot. Are you on a wireless headset?
Oh, I don't know where Grant is.
Oh,
Is there?
yeah, because it's
Uh,
real choppy.
Maybe I'll ask him. I don't know.
Okay.
Grant!
Yeah,
I don't
this
know.
is the joys of
Never
doing
use
this
me.
live. Yeah, fix it. Grant, fix it. I can't fix that.
Geek, go fix it.
No, I'm bringing in the expert.
Fair enough. The mic keeps cutting out, bud. Fix it.
Just remote into it, geek.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and try
Yeah.
again and see if it works.
Better? Or no, he told me to hold this.
Oh,
space.
yes. A lot better, at least for me.
Okay. You want me to start over?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I was just kind of talking about how I didn't think it made sense that Lucifer would be in hell because of like the stuff that you mentioned, him tempting Jesus and being the serpent in the garden, and how he was mentioned showing up in God's courtroom in Job. And I also just thought it made sense that he wouldn't be the ruler of hell because, like, the prisoners don't rule the prison. They aren't in charge of the other prisoners. Like, the point is that they're being punished. And I think it makes sense that God rules hell. He has to punish the sins. Why would Satan want to do that? I'm sure he would find pleasure in it, but I don't think he would be all that responsible of a ruler. He was.
Punishing all the people who rebelled with him.
Exactly. I'm sure he's that evil, but I don't know. Doesn't make sense in my brain.
I mean, it's a good thought. It's a good thought process, to be honest. I mean, we also don't know the flip side of it, where I would say that God, we don't know everything that God, Lucifer, spoke about when he was cast out. But if that's his, I would say, path back to heaven, right? If God said, you have to come down here and do this and do it faithfully in the correct manner, maybe. This is me spitballing here. This is not me taking up one side or another, but just
Yeah.
thinking out loud.
Yeah, I get it. Like you said, we don't exactly know what happened, but at the same time, if God assigned him to do anything, who knows if he would actually do it? Because
Yeah.
what I can see, he respects God, but he doesn't like him that.
And if there's one thing we learned, he does enjoy not doing as he's told.
And like I said, it reminds me of a son. It really does.
How so?
To be fair, before Lucifer fell, he was God's right-hand man. He was number 2. To where Michael, God's most powerful angel, was afraid to challenge him.
Yeah, so of course we are God's children. But at least in my mind, I believe he sees all of his creation as that way. I believe he sees everything as his children. And the way that he treats angels and the way that he treats things reminds me of how a father would treat their child. So he had to take action against Lucifer because of the deeds that he had done. And there was no way of circumventing that, right? You had to give a punishment that was due to the actions that were taken. And that's what he gave. But then you see throughout the Bible Lucifer and God having all these interactions still. And if you didn't love someone or love something like that, why would you have those interactions? If an angel was just a mindless robot, right, that God created to do his bidding, they wouldn't have any of that free will to be able to rebel in the first place. They wouldn't have that. They wouldn't have those discussions where me, now that I am a father, it feels like he keeps trying to give him a way to come back into the fold. Or with Job, which is what I was saying earlier, it feels like he was trying to show his father, look, I may have done bad, but even your most devout follower who believes fully in you can do bad as well, just like I did in the correct circumstances. Trying to prove himself not to be as bad as he was. It's like I said, it's just a different viewpoint that I have now that I have kids. I didn't have this viewpoint before, I'll be honest. But that's what it feels like to me. It feels like God is continually giving him chances because he wants to welcome him back. And Lucifer, being the individual that he is, just can't take those chances. He can't get out of his own way.
Right? He's just so holding a grudge and
Mm-hmm.
Now that would be an interesting idea. Would God forgive Lucifer if he was truly repentant?
We don't know. Because the Bible that we go off of and we interpret God's word from wasn't written for or by angels like this Bible, like the Bible is. It's written for and by humans. If there is such thing as an angel Bible up in heaven, maybe it tells different things of how angels have done bad before and have went through their repentance and been welcomed back into the fold. They've came in down to earth and served for X amount of time, whatever time is to God, and been welcomed back. You just don't know. I mean, like I said, this is all speculation. You have no idea.
All right, well, I'm gonna hop back out because I've got a few quick closing remarks. But thank you guys for coming and talking to me. And those of you here watching, let me know if you liked this format tonight, because we might do this again sometime. But Maisie, thank you for joining us. Blind, Blonde, I always appreciate you guys' input.
Yeah, bud.
Of course.
You're welcome.
I don't know if you guys I really enjoyed that. Honestly, I've been doing this, how long has it been now? 30 some months. Sometimes it's nice to not hear my own voice talking. So I have some closing remarks I want to talk about that I wasn't sure if the conversation would go there, but if the devil's still active on Earth, we need to be ready to fight. If this really is the end of days, we need to be ready to fight. Because I've always seen, growing up, you hear these stories about some of the great things that angels are doing in people's lives. And you hear some of the things that demons are doing in people's lives. And I hate to say it, but the devil, the demons, they're not playing fair. Because I used to have the elementary school mentality of it. I kept thinking, okay, the first guy who's ever going to offer me cigarettes is going to be some creepy guy in an alley with a trench coat, some stranger danger that I'm supposed to be afraid of. But he wasn't. It was a good friend of mine. And now I think about the way that the devil's fighting now. He's charismatic. His tricks are very welcoming. They want you to feel good inside. They don't want, there's a lot of the bad ones out there. You got your addictions and your stuff that will destroy you. But honestly, the stuff I'm afraid of is the stuff that seems like it's harmless. And that scares me. But I've decided that I thought about the next series, tapping into Revelation and discussing the end of days, and I realized I'm nowhere near ready or qualified for it. But if there's one thing I do know how to do, that's fight. Because for so long, my faith journey has been a battle. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to prepare for the fight.
Are you ready for the war? Let's go! Put on the armor of the Lord! Are you ready for the war? Let's win a battle and show them what we're fighting for! Are you ready for the war? Put on the armor of the Lord!
Next week, we start the series, Geared Up, the Armor of the Lord.